UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is now rethinking his green agenda after pressure from the Conservative right to create a dividing line with Labour at the next election. Prime Minister signaled he could delay or even abandon green policies that put financial pressure on families. After last week's Uxbridge and South Ruislip by-election, Sunak said the drive to reach the UK's net zero target should not unnecessarily give people more hassle and more costs in their lives, as he rethinks his green agenda. According to reports, Downing Street was forced to insist its pledge to reach net zero by 2050 remains. But the Prime Minister's spokesperson said he is making sure we listen to consumers and business and will continually scrutinize plans such as the banning of new petrol and diesel car sales by 2030. However, any decision to curb green policies in court may be questioned or challenged by environmental groups because the government has a legal obligation to set out in detail how it will meet its net zero target by 2050 with a clear carbon budgets for different sectors. On July 20, 2023, the move to roll back on some green measures comes after the Tories' opposition to expansion of London's ultra-low emission zone was credited for their narrow by-election victory in Boris Johnson's former seat, as per the Guardian news report. Tory strategists believe they could replicate their win in other newly marginal seats across the country by creating clear dividing lines with Keir Starmer's Labour, which has its own internal tensions over environmental policy since the by-election. During a visit to the West Midlands, Sunak was asked if he would stand with Tories pushing against net zero measures after Jacob Rees-Mogg said removing unpopular, expensive green policies would create a political opportunity. Sunak said that, quote-unquote, "Yes, we're going to make progress towards net zero, but we're going to do that in a proportionate and pragmatic way that doesn't unnecessarily give people more hassle and more costs in their lives." His comments came hours after Foreign Office Minister Andrew Mitchell was initially unclear about the 2030 petrol and diesel car ban until he insisted, after coming under pressure, that it will remain in place. The cost to consumers of green policies has been thrust into the spotlight by the Tories' narrow win in the Uxbridge by-election, which was driven almost entirely by opposition to London Mayor Sadiq Khan's expansion of the ultra-low emission zone. Sunak said the government could scale back some green policies came under fire from the Green Alliance think tank. On Monday, he insisted that reaching net zero is important to him, following allegations of environmental apathy from some quarters of the Conservative Party, with Tory peer Zac Goldsmith resigning as a minister after accusing Mr. Sunak of being uninterested in the environment. He did not specifically recommit to the ban on selling new petrol and diesel cars from 2030 amid tensions over policies to tackle the emergency. I am Lovely Montoya of Manila STV.